Okay, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakak Wadash, double honors to Apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the sincere Akim who are listening to these videos. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and read this article that I found today. It says, Tucker Carlson guests, we need martial law on the border. Alright, so it's a little bit of a read on this article, but I'm going to go ahead and read through the whole thing. Alright, so it says, insisting that the United States sovereignty is under attack by asylum-seeking migrants from Central America, a Fox News guest demanded Tuesday night that the U.S. military declare martial law at the southern border, opening his primetime Fox News show by calling for the military to mobilize at the border because large-scale migration is how countries collapse. Tucker Carlson griped that America's military forces was spread too far around the world, supposedly leaving this country vulnerable. Bringing on retired Colonel Douglas McGregor to bolster his case, Carlson wondered why is it so repugnant to the leadership that troops would protect us at the border before asking McGregor if the purpose of the military is to protect against a threat to the territorial sovereignty of the country. I'm just going to go ahead and say, because, the main reason that the soldiers are there is to protect the elites. The soldiers were never, established to become these troops to defend the American border, because it was never about that. Because you look back into America's history, American soldiers never did that. With the whole Mexican-American War, that war was pretty much just to establish more land into the American country. And like all these recent conflicts over in the Middle East, that has nothing to do with the benefits of American citizens. It's all benefiting the elites, whether it be by opium fields and drugs, oil, or just like anything like material wise. These so-called wars, they're only benefiting the elites. And in the old times, a kingdom would have its troops along its walls to defend against invaders. Yes, that's what happened. But right now, the kingdom of Babylon, it's not really the same thing, because they're just out there extending their borders and doing the wills of the elites. Alright, so I'm going to continue on. It says, the U.S. Army belongs to the border right now, the retired officer said while citing Title 10 of the United States Code. It's perfectly obvious to everyone on the border. You can add more patrolmen, you can add more customs officers. It's not just a function of the wall. They can't cope with hundreds of thousands of people marching over the borders, especially when they are told if you reach the border you have to be admitted. We need martial law on the border. It says McGregor went on to claim that he has spoken to various people in border states, and they all said the same thing: please send troops. It says border state leaders, however, aren't all keen on the military at the border. In February, the governors of New Mexico and California announced they were pulling their National Guard troops from the border, calling Trump's claims of a security crisis political theater. Officials in an Arizona border town also passed a resolution to have troop-installed razor wire removed from their border wall. Trump's long-sought border wall, meanwhile, is moving along, even if many border area lawmakers aren't overly thrilled with it. The Department of Defense just announced that it has awarded nearly $1 billion in contracts to build the wall. Says Carlson, who has repeatedly called Mexico a hostile country. That's one thing too. The hostile country is America, is also known as Babylon the Great, because you look at its track record, that's super hostile. It says that is seeking to undermine the United States by allowing migrants to travel to the border. Asked, why would it be offensive to protect this country? Prompting McGregor to claim it's because Democrats see voters moving across the border. No one on the left will advocate for the defense of the border, he added. They see in the future a human foundation for a permanent dictatorship on the left. This is far from the first time that Carlson has advocated for military mobilization at the border. While interviewing then Homeland Security Secretary Christian Nielsen last week, Carlson pressed her on whether the administration would commit to sending troops to the border since it really is a crisis, the magnitude of a Category 5 hurricane. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and into the precepts because, what's happening right now is actually a thing that's been happening before. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. Kind of, yeah. So this is a picture right here of some Northern Kingdom Israelites, because this is what they are. Whether they be Mexican, Nicaraguan, Uruguayan, Peruvian, whatever. Those are all descendants of the Northern Kingdom of the tribe of Israel. And right here they got them under a freeway bridge, locked up so they can count them, basically fingerprint them, and then kick them back out to the Mexican border so they can do it again. So what's happening in this picture is actually it's a thing that's been happening over and over in history. And one account was in Numbers 20 and I'm gonna start at 19. It says, "And the children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he said, Thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him." And this is an instance in the book of Numbers when we were so like when the whole 12 tribes of Israel left Egypt. This situation happened where Esau did not want us to go through the borders to drink some water for our cattle. They vehemently defended their side of the river pretty much, and then didn't want these people. These are their descendants, but in the story of Numbers, it was their ancestors that happened to. And it's just like how there's nothing new under the sun. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out real quick. As Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, "The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun." It's because this whole, like right now, like it says, it's hell out here. This is what it's like for immigrants being held in a pen underneath El Paso Bridge. This is nothing new under the sun. This is a thing that's happened before. It's just right now they got barbed wires and Babylonian type clothes with pants and shirts like this. None of these are wearing garments. These Israelites shaving, obviously, but nonetheless, it's a theme that happened before. Israelites not being allowed to go to a place where Esau dwells at. All right, so that's just going into prophecy because through the scriptures you read that these are the things that are going to happen right before the end times. All right, so this is 2 Ezra 15 and 17. "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." Yeah, because right here, Tucker Carlson on his Fox News show, he's talking to these guests, and they're all talking about martial law, sending troops over there, pretty much reliving, the book of Numbers 20 and 21. So as things escalate, as more money gets shuffled around, put here and there, as more like politicians do whatever, it may seem like some, like the one in California, they pulled out their National Guard troops. Well, eventually it's going to get to a point where the National Guard troops will be there. It's just right now it's kind of iffy. The chess pieces are being moved. Because the Heavenly Father is going to make that wall pretty much impenetrable because of the martial law that's going to take place. And that martial law is going to have to happen. And then during the martial law, it's going to be Jacob's trouble. And it's when we're not going to be able to go out in the streets. We're not going to be able to go on YouTube like how we are right now. And it's going to get real hectic, especially right before World War III. And then they're going to roll out that chip, and then they're going to expect everybody to get chipped. And so after getting the chip, it's going to be easier to get up into the wall. So like, I'm just gonna try to find a picture. I saw this a few days ago. So this one was posted in February 6, 2019. It says, "We need people," Donald Trump says. He wants to see more legal immigration in U.S. Because at the end of the day, he pulled a fast one on a lot of red Hebrew Edomites because a lot of the people who voted for him, they just wanted Mexicans, so-called Mexicans out of the country. Well, that's not what Donald J. Trump wants. He wants more chipped so-called Mexicans in the country. It's lucky I couldn't find this picture, but like I had saw a picture the other day, and it was basically like some Nazis or like some KKK guys, and they were making fun of the fact that Donald Trump swindled them, and it was a meme. And so pretty much it was saying is like we can't be replaced illegally, we have to be replaced legally, and then they're talking about how non-whites are going to replace them. So like I can't find the picture, but I don't think I'm going to be able to find it with the tagline on Google. All right, so also I was reading this article. And it says it's a massacre. Rising number of suicides among French police condemned by union. Because right now this is happening in France. A lot of policemen are killing themselves off. Well, it hasn't even started yet. Like Jacob's trouble hasn't even started for us. Because right now Esau should be partying. Like this is their kingdom right before it goes down. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out this precept. This is Proverbs 24:10. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. It's because Esau's strength is small, because ultimately they're all going to fall. And these are female cops, but I'm pretty sure it was like a lot of like male cops. I'm just going to read a little bit of this article. It says, it's a massacre. The UNSA police union's Thomas Toussaint told French media he noted that it looks like August last year of the numbers of suspected or proved officer suicide, currently 25, to reach 2019's level. Let's see what this video has to say real quick, if it loads.
Other officers.
Tom is currently still working as a police officer. To be able to talk openly about the issue of suicide in the force, he asked us to hide his identity.
We don't have support when it's bad at home and it's bad at work. We don't know who to confide in. Recently, I could visibly see a colleague wasn't looking good. Unfortunately, I didn't have a way to report that we felt something was wrong. 15 days later, he took his life.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to be the census, because during Jacob's trouble, it's going to be hell on everybody, not just Jacob. And these cops they're gonna get put through the ringer as well, because not only are they going to be on the losing team, they're going to realize it, and then they're going to still fight against it. The Heavenly Father, once He comes with all those UFOs, which are actually chariots. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull out these precepts. This is Revelation 9:6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Because right now, right now during Esau's kingdom, his final moments of his happy-go-lucky kingdom, where he's able to have fun. He's pretty much a free slave right now, and he's killing himself. But there's going to be a time where he's not going to be able to. They're going to put a chip in them, and they're going to alter their chemicals in their brain, and so they're just going to force these people to not be able to kill themselves, because right now they're at leisure to kill themselves. It's crazy that sounds, but once these prophecies starts kicking in, once martial law starts happening, it's pretty much you're not going to see a lot of cops kill themselves. Out of fear of more greater things like their family, and like pretty much the military-industrial complex getting on them more than themselves would have. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and read this precept on of like them going against the Heavenly Father. This is 2 Ezra 13:5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. This is talking about all the people, like from pretty much who has a seat in the EU, and the person who came out of the sea is Yahweh Shai. It says, verse 6, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. And verse 7 says, but I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And this is talking about the chariot that Yahweh Shai is on, because it's going to be a very big chariot that you won't be able to see the whole thing of it, just standing in a city. Like, to see the whole thing, you'd have to be, in the sky to see the whole thing. Alright, so it's verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Because right now it's nothing that whatever they're dealing with, it's nothing compared to what's actually going to happen, because they're going to have to go against those chariots. And as the prophecies go in, they're not gonna come out of it victorious. All right, so that's the end of this video. Hopefully it was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Harakak Kodash, and Shalom Akim.